think so. You push the button already? Oh, push this thing down, the thing on the bottom. No, under your hand. Don't worry about it. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وآله وصحبه أجمعين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. We're starting a new section from ayah 270 of Surah Al-Baqarah to ayah 274. The ayah ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. It's actually ayah from وما أنفقتم من نفقة أو نذرتم من نذر فإن الله يعلم وما للظالمين من أنصار إن تبدوا الصدقات فنعما هي وإن تخفوها وتؤتوها الفقراء فهو خير لكم ويكفر عنكم من سيئاتكم والله بما تعملون خبير. ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء وما تنفقوا من خير فلأنفسكم وما تنفقون إلا ابتغاء وجه الله وما تنفقوا من خير يوفى إليكم وأنتم لا تظلمون. للفقراء الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم. الذين ينفقون أموالهم بالليل والنهار سرا وعلانية فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. وعليكم السلام. As far as the asbab al-nuzul, or from amongst the reasons that some of these selected ayat were revealed, the ayat in tubidu sadaqati fa ni'immahi wa in tukhfuha wa tu'tuha al-fuqara'a fa huwa khayrun lakum. It is mentioned that this ayat was revealed in regards to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu wa Umar ibn al-Khattab. That Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, one time it was a call made for sadaqah. The Prophet ﷺ was asking for the companions to give sadaqah. And Umar ibn al-Khattab, he brought half of his wealth. Half of everything that he owned, he brought it to the Prophet ﷺ. And when he came to the Prophet ﷺ with half of his wealth, the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him, what did you leave for your family? He said, I left half of my wealth for my family. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he came with so much wealth that when the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him, what did you leave for your family? He said, I left for my family the provisions of Allah and His Messenger. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. Meaning I left nothing for them except for Allah and His Messenger. And once Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said this, the Prophet Umar radiallahu anhu, he started crying. And he said, there's no time that there's a good act to be done, oh Abu Bakr, except that you beat me to it. I'm never able to beat you. And it's caused Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu to start to shed tears and cry. And there's a benefit here that we can learn, is that take from your companions those who you can compete with in good. Make your friends those that you can compete with in good, that you're always trying to beat each other to do, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, that you're trying to compete with each other to do good deeds. Who did the best deeds today? Who memorized the most Quran today? You beat me. I'm going to beat you tomorrow. That should be our competition between each other. As Allah Ta'ala says, "Fastabiqul khairat," that you should race in doing good deeds. A lot of times, unfortunately, today we don't race each other or compete with each other for Jannah. But the reality is that we should be, especially Tulab al-Ilm, we shouldn't want anyone to beat us to do a good deed. And it's not out of jealousy. This shouldn't be done out of jealousy to the other person, but out of wanting the good. That you're racing to do the good for the sake of Allah. And you want to be stingy for the good in the place of the akhirah. When it comes to Jannah, we want to be stingy for it. You want to, strive your best. You don't want anyone to outdo you. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he tried his best, but Abu Bakr always beat him. So be the Abu Bakr of your friends. Right? It doesn't mean that Umar is not good. Of course, Umar is great, but Abu Bakr was better. Right? Then as well, the ayah, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. I'm going to ask you all, what do you think it was revealed in regards to? What do you think that's about? Look at where we're at in the Quran. What do you think is revealed in regards to? It means you are not, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ, let me translate it for you, right? لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That it is not for you to guide them. Their guidance is not obligatory upon you, but Allah will guide whoever He wills. What does that have to do with spending money? That's in a section talking about spending money. What does that have to do with spending money?
Is it the same section as last week?
It's the same. It's following that section, yes.
And spending the way of Allah?
Nah, but what does this have to do with that? I'll tell you. That the Sahaba, Ridwanullah alayhim, they would not spend on their mushrikeen relatives, their kafir relatives. They said, we're not giving you nothing unless you become Muslim, right? So they will almost make it a condition for them to spend money on their relatives that they became Muslim. And Allah Ta'ala sent this ayah down that it's not your job to do it like that. Spend for the sake of Allah. It doesn't matter if you spend on a Muslim or a non-Muslim. You spend on the sake of Allah. And don't make their guidance a condition for you to spend on them. So we start, inshallah. Allah says first, وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَذَرْتُم مِّن نَذْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. Allah says, whatever you spend, regardless if you spend good, if you spend evil, like you spend not a good quality, whether you spend in public, whether you spend secretly, وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم, meaning it's general for everything. Whatever you spend, مِن نَفَقَةٍ, from provisions of whatever you're able to provide and give. Again, whether it means if you spend that which is good, bad, poor quality, high quality, public, secret, whatever you spend. أَوْ نَذَرْتُم, another is an oath that you take to do something that is not originally obligatory. Another, if I say, nadaratu an kada wa kada, I made an oath to do such and such. The nadar is something that you make an oath to do something that originally was not obligatory upon you to do, but you've made it obligatory. I make an oath that every year I'm going to go to Umrah, right? That's another. It's an oath that I am going to do something that originally Allah did not obligate me to do, but now I'm going to be obligated to do it. That makes sense? So Allah says, whatever nether oaths to do something you make, then Allah, He knows about it. Whether it's an oath that is good, whether it's an oath that's bad, whether it's an oath that has a condition, whether it's an oath that doesn't, whatever oath you make, then Allah knows about it. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. Then Allah, indeed Allah, He knows about that oath. وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. And Allah, He seals this ayah with a warning to those who commit dhulm. What is dhulm? Huh? Oppression? No. Yes, but no. It is, that's correct. That's the translation, but with tulab, we have to have a better understanding of dhulm, because oppression, who knows what oppression means? I would like that understanding better. But what is it? I'm just giving an example. What does oppression mean? To keep something down, right? To oppress something. Can you oppress Allah? No, right? So the meaning is more inclusive than just oppression. Huh? A different word? You could take His rights, but oppression doesn't sound right when you talk about Allah. There's no way you can oppress Allah. Right? Even though, again, dhulm oppression is a correct translation, right? But we have to understand it bigger because it's a huge word in reality. Dhulm is to put things in the wrong places, to take the rights of someone that doesn't belong to you, right? So when Allah says, وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ, He means that those who either do bad oaths, those who spin or they spin in regards to what they shouldn't be spending in, or they spin in regards to sin and disobedience, or they make oaths to disobey Allah, or they don't give zakat. You see how all of this is dhulm? Doing what's not proper to be done. All of that is dhulm. Doing what shouldn't be done. Putting things in the wrong place at the wrong time. All of that is dhulm. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَاتَّقُوا الظُّلْمِ اتَّقُوا الظُّلْمِ فَإِنَّ الظُّلْمَ ظُلُمَاتِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Why? Because dhulm is ظُلُمَاتِ on Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? Dhulm is going to be considered what? Dhulumat on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Do we understand what that means? That dhulm will be darkness. Not just one darkness, but darknesses on Yawm al-Qiyamah. What's so bad about that? Why should we be afraid of darkness on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Nobody knows? That's a question. Why should we be afraid of darknesses on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Huh? Pick the wrong side? On Yawm al-Qiyamah, what is everybody going to be looking for? Light. So if you, not alone, you have a little bit of light, and then dhulm comes and covers up the little light that you might have had, you're in trouble now, right? Especially if you're trying to get across the sirat. The sirat that's thinner than a hair, sharper than a blade of a sword, right? Slippery, with hooks on top. You don't know where the hooks are. You can't see them. Because now you're covered with dhulumat. It's the worst type of punishment. Why is that punishment suitable for the one who commits dhulm? Why? Because the zalim normally blocks off the path that the person needs in this life. Right? The oppressor normally oppresses someone who's weak. Right? Take someone's rights. I'm going to do this to you. You're going to what? Say it. So Yawm al-Qiyamah, when you need help the most and you're weak, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover you in darkness and cut off your path. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from dhulm. Dhulm is so serious that even the non-believer, the kafir, that makes dua against you, if you're oppressing him, that dua maybe will be accepted by Allah. So you're not safe. You're not able to oppress, not even a kafir. No one is allowed to be a zalim to anyone else. So be careful. وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. And whoever is like this, mashallah, barakallahu feek. And whoever has this type of dhulm, they won't have anyone to help them. There's no one who will help them. Now, in regards to the oath, what type of oaths should a person take? What can a person do if they're not able? Let's say a person makes an oath, like we just mentioned that, I'll go to Hajj every year or Umrah every year, and they don't have the money for it. And they know they don't have the money for it. They made an oath that they're not able to keep. Or they made an oath that's just really impossible. I make an oath to go to the moon. Right? Did anyone ever go to the moon before? Huh? Anyone ever go to the moon?
Yes.
Who? Who went to the moon? Neil Armstrong? Huh? He went to the moon in Hollywood, California, right? In his movie. And that was about it. He didn't go to the moon in the sky. But anyway, right? That's another whole situation. Isn't it amazing that only America made it to the moon? Anybody ever found that amazing? Don't you think that Russia would have went to, and then China, and everybody would have had a party on the moon? Only America went to the moon. In 19 what? What year? When did they go? And never went back again? Does that sound like the American way? That they go somewhere and don't go back? They'd have been there still, drilling for oil or something. There must be oil on the moon. No, these guys ain't make it to the moon. They just made a movie making it seem like they went to the moon. Seriously, think about it. They lie so much. People lie so much. SubhanAllah. Anyway, right? If you make an oath to go to the moon or you make an oath to do something that's impossible to do, what do you do?
Fast.
That's what you would like to do, right? That's the easy way out. But that's not how it's done, actually. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man nadara an yuti' Allah falyuti'hu." Whoever makes an oath that he's going to obey Allah, then let him obey him. وَمَن نَذَرَ أَن يَعْصِ اللَّهَ فَلَا يَعْصِهِ. And whoever makes an oath that he's going to disobey Allah, I make an oath that every time I see you, Ridwan, I'm going to punch you in the face. Should I keep that oath? I might like to, right? But should I keep that oath? No, I shouldn't, right? I should break it. I should break that oath. It's not a good oath. It's a sinful oath, right? So the Prophet ﷺ says in another hadith, "Man nadhara nadhran lam yusammi fakafaratu kafaratu yamin, wa man nadhara nadhran fi ma'siyah fakafaratu kafaratu yamin, wa man nadhara nadhran la yutiquhu fakafaratu kafaratu yamin, wa man nadhara nadhran fa ataqahu falyalfi bihi." The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever makes an oath that he doesn't name, he doesn't say what it is, it's just an open oath, to let him make the kafara of the yamin, the expiation of swearing. Does anybody know what the expiation of swearing is? What do you do if you swear? No, that's what you would like to do. But, no. وَمَن نَذَرًا, whoever makes an oath to disobey Allah in regards to some disobedience, then he should make kafara to yamin. Whoever makes an oath, something they're calling it. Something. You don't want to go. You want to stay here? He says he's learning. He can stay here? He has to go? Oh, they say you have to go. I'm not in charge, huh? But you're not. We're not in charge, so. Yeah. Okay, say Assalamu alaikum to everyone. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "For kafara to yamin, whoever makes an oath that he can't fulfill, then he does the kafara of the yamin." The kafara of the yamin has three choices, and none of them is first to fast 3 days, even though we would like to, right? The three choices that you have for kafara to yamin is, one, that you feed 10 poor people the normal food that you would like to eat. You know, not your most expensive food, but not your, breakfast food of cereal or something like that. A nice meal, decent meal that you would like to eat. Or you clothe 10 of them, or you free a slave. Those are the three choices that you have. Yes?
Do they have to be like poor?
Feed 10 people. I would say poor people would need it the most, but I don't remember right now. No, masakin. You feed 10 poor people, people who need the food. What is masak? That's another question we have to figure out. What does it mean to be miskin? Huh? There's a difference between faqir and miskin. Anyway, the miskin is the one who might have something, but it's not enough to make him not need anyone's help. They got $10, but they need $20 to pay their rent. They're still miskin. They need some people's help, right? They don't have nothing, zero. They're not at zero. They have something, but it's not enough for them to meet their daily needs. Does that make sense? So you feed 10 poor people, Now, if you can't find 10 poor people if you can't feed 10 poor people, you can't afford it. If you can't clothe them, if you can't free a slave, then you can fast 3 days. Then you can fast 3 days. That makes us a lot more careful about what we swear about, right? You say, wallahi billahi tallahi, and you're lying, right? You want to feed a slave? You want to feed 10 poor people? You want to clothe them? We think sometimes that it's just as easy as, I didn't even know this guy was still alive. Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah, you're alive. Nice to see you. How's your soccer going? It's good? You're winning games? MashaAllah. So, that's that part. Do we understand? Yes or no? How do you make expiation if you make an oath or if you lie while saying wallahi billahi tallahi? Right? How do you do it? How do you fix that? Or clothe them. And it's not about the money. It's not that you give them the money. You have to actually do the feeding or the clothing, Allaamah said. You have to actually do the feeding or the clothing. Go to Mauritania. They have slaves there. Seriously. There's slaves in the world still. Go to Mauritania. Other places have slaves too. They just don't publicize it. But if you can't find one here in America, then you can't find one. But there are slaves to free if you really wanted to look. No. Allah says, "In tubidu sadaqati fa ni'mahi." This is a very important section. That if you broadcast or make public or show, announce your sadaqah, or you who believe, then it's okay. For ni'mahi, it's good. It's no problem, right? If you broadcast and make public your sadaqah, the eye gate, look, okay, who needs sadaqah? Oh, mashallah, you need help? Here. It's no problem. As long as you don't do it with the intention to be seen. Right? As long as you don't do it with the intention to be seen. Your intention is not, I want to be seen, but it just happened to be that you asked me right now, and I forgot, and here I am in class. I said, oh yeah, didn't you ask? Here you go. Take this, right? That makes sense? وَإِن تُخْفُوهَا وَتُؤْتُوهَا لِلْفُقَرَاءِ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. But if you conceal it and you keep it quiet, you don't tell everyone, or you don't do it where people see you, وَتُؤْتُوهَا لِلْفُقَرَاءِ, and you give it to someone who's actually poor, فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Then that's better for you. Now there comes a discussion about what type of sadaqah, because sadaqah is anything that is given from your wealth, right? Generally, and that can include obligatory zakat or it can include voluntary sadaqah. The question is, which is better? To give it quietly when no one sees it, or to give it in a way where people know? Quietly is always better for sadaqah. But zakat, the obligatory zakat, the ulama say it's better, afdal, that you give your zakat in public. Why is that? So people don't think that you're not paying your zakat. Because zakat is an obligation. It's nothing, the reality is that you're supposed to, you have no choice. So there's no real benefit of concealing it. You're not supposed, it's like going to the grocery store. If someone sees you at the grocery store, is anyone going to say, oh, mashallah, they're so righteous at the grocery store? No, you're supposed to be grocery shopping, right? You got to eat. So zakat is a similar situation. You have to pay zakat, right? Can you get away from paying zakat? Like fasting Ramadan. Should you be in Ramadan and people say, oh, are you fasting? No, I'm not fasting, mashallah. No, you're fasting. It's Ramadan. You can't not get around fasting during Ramadan, right? Like praying in the masjid. Are you considered most right? Oh, mashallah, look at he's praying. No, you're supposed to pray in the masjid, right? For the man, it's afdal. Why? But praying at home is better for your voluntary salawat, right? Praying at home is better for your voluntary salat. Why? Because that's something that everyone might not do. But everyone has to pray 5 times a day, right? So are people going to say, mashallah, look at how righteous is she? She's making dhuhr. Wow. No. You're supposed to pray dhuhr. Now, if you don't pray Dhuhr, they're going to say, whoa, what's wrong with this person? But there's no, like Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he said it's unheard of for a person to have riyah, to be showing off. He said it's inconceivable, unbelievable that a believer will have riyah in his heart when they're praying one of the 5 obligatory salawat. Or they're giving zakat. Why? Because that's just what you're supposed to do. It's like tying your shoes, right? Now, your focus in the salah, something might be different. Or, but who doesn't pray? Except for a person who's just not a believer. So no Muslim is going to expect that another Muslim is not praying, right? So there's no superiority in hiding that because it's just expected from you. Similarly with zakat. It's expected that you pay your zakat. So hiding that is really of no benefit. And as well, they say showing it also lets me, I paid my zakat, whoa, I'm good, all right? Like, don't come looking for me. Especially nowadays, where people don't pay zakat. People don't pay zakat. Even though, again, there's no fadl, there's no virtue of you hiding it because you're supposed to do it, people don't pay zakat. How many people, subhanAllah, if you really think about it, don't pay zakat? So, paying in public is even better because it looks like you're not refusing to give zakat. Right? You give it to the people that has to be given to. They write it down. But as far as sadaqah, it's better that you conceal it because people differ in regards to that. Everyone doesn't give sadaqah. Everyone can't give sadaqah. Everyone's heart doesn't allow them to give sadaqah. So you hide that because there comes in showing off. Man, I gave $1,000 yesterday to the masjid. Okay, cool. That's your business. Who did you give it for? The sake of Allah? So you can tell me. It's a bigger difference, right? So Allah says, when تُخْفُوهَا وَتُؤْتُوهَا الْفُقَرَاءَ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ, he says in a hadith, سَبَعَةٌ يُظِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلِّهِ. The Prophet ﷺ said that on the Day of Judgment, right, when we know when the sun is going to come so close to us, that the Prophet ﷺ says in one hadith, it's going to be the distance of a kuhl. It's going to be the distance of a meal. And the scholars differ on what's meant by meal. We would hope that it means a mile, right? But the other explanation of it is that the meal is the stick that's used to put kuhl on a person's eye. You know the kuhl that people wear? Kuhl on their eyes, right? Eyeliner, that type of stuff. That little pencil stick. They say it's going to be that close. So there'll be 7 people, may Allah protect us, right? That Allah will shade on this day when there's no shade except for the shade of Allah. There's no trees. Remember, the mountains are destroyed. The whole earth is flat, right? And the shade will come only from Allah for 7 types of people. One of those is the nice, just imam, the leader. And from amongst those are the one who gives sadaqah in such a way that his left hand doesn't know what his right hand gave. Does that really possibly happen? No, but it just means that, well, it can possibly happen, really, if you just reach in your pocket and grab and give, right? But the point is that you hide it. That you hide it so no riyah, that it's done specifically for the sake of Allah, even to the extent that the person you gave it to might not know it was you who gave it to them, right? As it comes to some stories of Umar radiallahu anhu that he used to do, that he would go around the city at nighttime with bags of rice and food and drop it off on the doorsteps of certain people at nighttime when no one could see him. They wouldn't even know that it was Umar who was it. They only knew once Umar died when it stopped happening. I said, Umar, we stopped getting our daily or our rice every month that would come to our doorsteps. And Allah Ta'ala a'lam. But now, what are the benefits of a person who might give their sadaqah in public? Why should a person at times give sadaqah in public? Number one, it should be done from a person who is striven and not trying to let any riyah come into their heart. It's not done to be seen. Number two, it comes with a person who might be followed, right? A person who has maybe some status, or you're competing and you want people to follow that. You say, look, subhanAllah, they say, we need such and such. So people start competing, right? For the sake of Allah, hopefully, right? Not just to compete. And they say, okay, I gave $100. Wow, man, I can't let Zubair do more than me, man, and get closer to Allah. You see the key? I can't let him get closer to Allah than me. I got to beat him. I'm going to give $200. Then that's different. And that's a benefit. Or maybe nobody's giving. Everyone's being real stingy. Everyone's like, I don't have no money. And everyone has money. And then you stand up and say, okay, I have $1,000 to give. It might encourage other people to follow and give as well. Then that's a situation where it's blessed and virtuous for a person to give sadaqah in public. Allah says, وَيُكَفِّرْ عَنْكُمْ مِنْ سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ. That Allah says that He will, if you do this, you give your sadaqah, that if you give your sadaqah to the one who you conceal it and you give it to the one who's poor, that Allah will, He'll wipe out and forgive some of your sins. And the sins here that Allah will forgive are the minor ones. Why the minor ones and not the major ones? Why the minor and not the major? Huh? Major ones need tawbah, barakallahu feekum. Or, by the fadl of Allah, Allah will forgive them. But don't expect it. If Allah out of His mercy just says, you know what, I'm not going to charge you for that. But other than that, major sins need tawbah. Need a person to make specific tawbah for those sins. And it doesn't just get wiped out by your sadaqah. Does that make sense? Wallahu bima ta'maluna khabir. And Allah says that He's, in which regards to what you're doing, He is khabir. This is the name of Allah, that Allah is all aware and knows everything that's happening. What does it have to do with here? That Allah knows who gave their sadaqah to be seen and who gave their sadaqah for the sake of Allah. Who gave their sadaqah out of a pure heart, and Allah is going to reward and deal with everyone in regards to what they did and how they did it and for what reason they did it for. Does that make sense? Then Allah says, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ. No, afwan. In Tubadu Sadaqah, Allah says, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ مِنْ خَيْرٍ يُوَفَّ إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. Allah said, it's not for you, O Muhammad, right? It's not wajib upon you to guide those who differ with you or who oppose you, or to forbid them from receiving sadaqah so that they enter into Islam, right? Let's say you want someone to do something for you. Say, man, I really want, you have a friend, and your friend used to, or your relative, you know, subhanAllah, if you have non-Muslim relatives, not most of you don't, right? But you have non-Muslim relatives, and you're like, man, and they're used to, you used to spend on them a lot before you were Muslim or whatever. And you become Muslim, you say, I'm not giving you nothing anymore. You say, man, what happened? You know, why do you want to give me nothing? Well, become Muslim and I'll start giving to you again. This is how the companions used to treat their non-Muslim relatives. When they became Muslim, they said, I'm not giving you guys nothing, right? You're on your own now. But what happened? You know, Abu Bakr, what happened? Omar, why? You used to spend, you used to give me some money every now and then. I'm not giving you nothing until you become Muslim. And they would make their sadaqah to be a means for them to become Muslim. That I'm not going to, or a condition for them to be Muslim. That if you become Muslim, I'll give you sadaqah again. But if you don't become Muslim, I'm not giving you nothing. You're going to be broke. You're not going to eat. Your clothes are going to be ripped up until you decide to become Muslim. So Allah said, no, that's not how it's done. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. It's not for you to be the one that makes sure that they're guided. And the guidance here is the guidance of what? There's two types of guidance. We talked about it before. I don't know if you remember. What type of guidance is out there? Hidayah to tawfiq wa hidayah to irshad wal bayan, right? There's hidayah, the guidance of tawfiq, that Allah can only give, the success of a person being granted guidance. That comes from Allah alone. Our duty and our job is to tell people, to talk to them about it, to explain to them about it, with hopes that Allah gives them the success of being guided to Islam. None of us have the ability, not even the Prophet ﷺ had the ability to give someone guidance. He was only able to what? Talk to them, show them, educate them. Similarly, that's on us, to be able to educate, talk to our friends, our relatives if we have them that are not Muslim, and we move forward like this. And we don't make it a condition of us treating them kindly. We still have an obligation to treat our relatives and all non-Muslims, and we accept those who are at war with us, of course, but we have an obligation to treat the non-Muslim kindly. Not just because they're not Muslim, say, oh, you see the person asking for $1 in the coin, say, oh, you kafir, I'm not giving you nothing. Kafir. Right? No, that's not how it is. You see them, they're a human being, they need. You give them if you have. There's no shame, there's no harm in that. You should give them. And it's not a condition. They say, listen, I'll give you $50 if you become Muslim right now. No, that's not how it is. It's not on you to buy their guidance. If Allah wants them to be guided, they'll be guided. So that's how it was. That they would, try to hold back from spending on their relatives. That tells us something as well. How important it is to spend on your relatives, right? You have cousins, uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, right? And they might not be rich like you.
Okay, so if a Catholic person, they could so if they could wish bad on you, let's say they make a dua, and you said Allah would accept it, not a good one. Let's say you did something bad to them and they wish bad upon you. So would that get accepted?
If you did something bad to them, you committed some dhulm to them, you oppressed them, slapped them, pushed them down the stairs at school, right? Now, what their dua is, it depends on what their dua is. They say, oh Allah, curse that, oh Allah, help me against that person. Allah will answer that dua. Even if they're a kafir, because Allah hates dhulm. And Allah makes an exception for dhulm.
So how about the opposite? If you go to them and they make dua?
Huh? If they make dua for you for good?
Yeah.
No. No, tell them to give you some money or something. The kafir's dua is normally not accepted. And if it's accepted only in the dunya, right? That they need something in the dunya, but it's not accepted in that way. Especially, who are they calling out to? They say, oh, Jesus, or something like that. They're going to accept it. But Allah might make them think they accept it for the sake of what? Further misleading them. Right? They say, oh, Jesus answers my prayers. No, Jesus doesn't answer your prayers. But Allah may make them fall further into misguidance because of what He knows into them by giving them something of what they want in the dunya. In the dunya. It's like the kuffar from the mushrikeen. They used to say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنًا. Right? وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. And they won't have nothing of the good in the akhirah. But they ask for new camels. They ask for this. Allah might give that to them because Allah doesn't care about this dunya. Right? Allah doesn't care nothing about the dunya. So He'll give a person that stuff. But in the akhirah, they're finished. They're wiped off. That answer your question? So be kind to the kafir. And that's what this ayah is going to explain to us, why we're supposed to be kind to the kafir. We're not being kind to the kafir hoping that they're going to make dua for us. Like when we were kind to each other, yeah, we would like someone to say, Jazakumullahu khairah, right? Barakallahu fiqh. You want somebody to make dua for you because the Muslim, you think that his dua is accepted, inshallah. The kafir says, Barakallahu fiqh, and what's going to happen? But why do you be kind to the kafir? Because you're looking for the pleasure of Allah. As Allah says, وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Whatever you spend of good, then it's for you. You're spending for good not because you just want to do it for them, but because you want a reward from Allah on Yawm al-Qiyamah. So that you can apply this. If you want to be kind to the kafir, you're doing it for what? Not because you want them to love you, but because what? You're looking for Allah to reward you on Yawm al-Qiyamah. So it's really for you. Your spending of good, فَلِأَنفُسَكُمْ. Will your sadaqah be accepted if you spend it on a kafir? You answered. I'm going to ask you that question in 2 minutes. Allah says, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. We said that this ayah was first revealed in regards to what? The companions not spending on their non-Muslim relatives. They said, man, you're a kafir, I'm not giving you nothing until you become Muslim. They would make sure I get that mushaf at the end of class. I've been looking for it. Yes, that one. Yeah. I am not giving you nothing, you're a kafir. So Allah says, don't make them being a kafir, don't make them being not Muslim to be a reason why you're not spending on them. Spend on them, right? Allah says you spend on them. Now you can spend on them. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. And whatever you spend of good, it's for you. It's going to benefit you in the akhirah. That means it's what? Going to be accepted. وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا بِتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. But whatever you spend, you're only spending, you're not spending except for to earn the wedge of Allah, to earn the pleasure of Allah, to earn to see the face of Allah. Your whole spending has nothing to do with them in reality. You're spending so that you get closer to Allah. So that Allah will love you and be pleased with you and accept it from you because Allah tells you to spend. And show you how kind Allah is to all of His creation. That regardless if they're believer or not, Allah still commands the believers to take care of them in regards to things of this dunya. And don't look for anything in response for it back. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يُوَفَّ إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And whatever, here goes the word, whatever you spend, regardless on who it is, kafir, Muslim, dog, cat, snake, whatever, tree, وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يُوَفَّ إِلَيْكُمْ. It'll be fulfilled and rewarded for you. وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And you won't be harmed in regards to that at all. So look, remember the hadith where the lady was punished, right? For not giving water to the cat. And the other person who entered into Jannah for giving water to a dog, right? Normally we don't like dogs, right? But look how Allah wants His creation to be taken care of. That a person entered into Jannah. Why? Because the dog was thirsty, and and the lady was a very not good lady, you know, and she jumped into the well and used her shoe and came and gave water to a thirsty, dying dog. And the dog became healthy, and that was the reason that all of her other sins that she did were forgiven, right? So spending has no limit to who you spend on, but you don't spend on a person, right? Also, you have to be smart, right? You don't see the person going into the crack house and they say, hey, you know, can I have $20 going to the crack house? And they tell, I'm going to the crack house to buy crack. And you say, yeah, man, you know, mashallah, here goes $20. No, you know, we got to be a little bit smart too. You know, you're not going to help a person commit a sin. So, but if the kafir normally, what's the question, Amira Munira? So spend whatever we have and whatever we're able to spend, even if the person is not a Muslim. That makes sense? Then Allah Ta'ala starts to talk about another section. Allah says, لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا. Allah says, spend for the fuqara, those who don't have anything, right? للفقراء الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله. They're restricted, they're tight, أحصروا means like أحصروا meaning like they're restricted, or they're not able to go out to do anything else. أحصروا في سبيل الله. It's almost like they're not in prison, but they're restricted from doing anything else. Their movement is restricted in the earth. أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض. They're not able to either afford a riding animal, or they're not able to freely move about throughout the land. Pay attention to this, right? Because they say that this was revealed in regards to Ahl Suffa. Ahl Suffa were the people who, they were Muslims, but they lived in the masjid. And they said it was about 400 of them. About 400 of them, close to 400 of them. They lived in the masjid of the Prophet. So that was what they did. And they lived there seeking knowledge, learning the Quran. These were ones that whenever there was a call for war, they went to every call for war. Every battle, they were there, right? And they would come back and they would be there at war, in the masjid seeking knowledge, and that's where they would stay at. So they wouldn't be able to, these people didn't have the freedom, right? Either because they were either going to war or because they were studying, seeking knowledge, right? They didn't have the freedom to start businesses. They didn't have the freedom to do any work. So they were basically at the needs of the people. So the Prophet ﷺ will always encourage people to spend on them, because in reality, they're serving the ummah. While you're going out making money, these people here are serving the ummah, learning and understanding the deen and going out to fight and protect the frontiers of the ummah. So spend on them. While you go make business, take care of them, right? There has to be some reciprocal, so there has to be some type of help between the two. You don't have time to learn the deen, right? These ones do. So spend on them, make sure that their time stays free, right? And that's why some of the people say it's wajib. Fardun, if we say it's fardu kifaya, right? Fardu ayn, to seek certain knowledge, right? Certain knowledge is what? Fardu ayn. Knowledge of tafseer, knowledge of fiqh. You know, there's fardu ayn, it's fardu ayn, certain knowledge of your basic things, right? When we say fardu ayn means an individual obligation, everyone has to know their basics. It's fardu kifaya for there to be scholars in every community, right? Someone to be able to answer questions, someone to be able to explain tafsir, someone to understand the deep intricacies of fiqh. That's why it's fardu kifaya. I mean, what does it mean fardu kifaya? That if the community, that someone has to do it. If someone doesn't do it, the whole community is sinful for not doing it. So that means if it's Fardu Kifaya, then we as a community, we should support, right? Those young, bright people that seem like they can seek knowledge, we should support them to make sure that they're free just to seek knowledge. So that they can come back and teach. They can come back and, subhanAllah, be able to educate the Muslims, because the Muslims need education. As Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that musibat al-muslimin fi zamanina, that the problem of the Muslims today is ignorance. And why? Muslims have a lot of money, but they don't use it properly, right? Instead of supporting the young tulab so that they can study and learn and don't have to worry about working, people go buy mansions and this and that. And then when they don't know if this mansion has riba or if they can do this, then they want to come and ask me and say, oh, but I didn't, they say, We have to think as a community. The community doesn't grow unless it has everything that it needs. And one of the most important things a community needs is scholars, to know how to live your life as a Muslim. So anyway, these Ahl al-Suffah will be in this situation. Now, why weren't they able to go out and seek rizq? One, it was because they were busy with seeking knowledge and going to the different battles, so they couldn't go out and have a business. That's number one. Number two, it was out of fear of the enemies, because Medina, we got to remember that the Muslims were surrounded by enemies. And these are the warriors. So that they know that, oh wait, that's such and such over there. He killed my brother in the last battle. So when they see them outside of their encampment, which is the safety in the city of Medina, they'll try to kill them. So if they would go out to seek business or travel by themselves, they say, oh wait, isn't that such and such? And they'll kill them, because these are the warriors. That everyone knows that these are the warriors, and so they can't freely travel around to seek rizq like anyone else, when everyone knows that these are the soldiers of the ummah. And as well, at times they couldn't go out because they would be healing from their wounds. Right? They're always fighting in battle, so they got to let their wounds heal and stuff before they go out. So they're unable to go out and make money. So the Prophet ﷺ would encourage that they would be spent on. And it's amazing to realize, sometimes when we hear about Ahl al-Suffah, we don't realize how many of them really was. Close to 400 people living like this in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. That's not a small amount of people. Right? The ummah needs, subhanAllah, would be great. It would be amazing if we were able to have 10 young men, just stay and live in the masjid to learn, to seek knowledge and, work out and become strong, right? That would be amazing. We couldn't get one or two. But the Prophet says 400 people. We wonder how Islam spread. People sacrificed their lives for Islam. We think Islam is spread because the Prophet, of course, Allah supported the Prophet ﷺ, but people sacrificed their lives, and we wonder why we say, we make dua for their companions. We say, radiyallahu anhum, right? We ask Allah to forgive them. They literally spent their lives in the service of Islam. Us, we're like part-time Muslims, we part-time come to class, part-time read a book, part-time, make salat. And we wonder why Islam is weak in our time. Until we become full-time Muslims, if you got a part-time job, how much money do you make? So not even part-time, per diem. You know what per diem is? You don't even work part-time. You just like on call. Like, you just call me when y'all need me type of thing, right? I'll come in for an hour today if you need. That's how most Muslims live their lives today. That my Islam is secondary to everything else that I'm doing. Everything else in my life is more important than Islam. When I get a break, I'll do some of that Islamic stuff. I'll work. Think about this question. Ask yourself this, right? What did you do this week for Islam? Don't tell me. Just ask yourself. What did you do this week for Islam? Forget that. What did you do this year for Islam? You go home to this is a personal question. Ask yourself, right? Sit down and think, reflect. What did I personally do this year for Islam? If we can't think of it, that means that we're doing bad. We didn't do nothing for Islam this whole year. I prayed. Yeah, of course you pray. That's for you. But what did you do to propagate and spread, sacrifice for Islam this year? Did you give some money to support a dawah somewhere? Did you, write a book? Did you teach somebody something? What did you do? If you can't think about what you did for Islam, then what are you living for? Then ask yourself, what did you do to support any other cause that you might think of, right? Your school play or your school, whatever team. What did you do? There's so many other things, subhanAllah, we support, right? And we spend time on, and we help, we call to. I mean, even honestly, I'll tell you, right? Dawah today is so easy. Allah's made it easy for us, right? I was thinking about it today, right? I was in a class this morning, and with a sheikh, and the connection, the internet connection kept going off, right? And I had to keep calling him back, right? And I thought to myself, I said, wow, subhanAllah, is this the only difficulty I'm going through right now for Talib al-Ilm, a little internet break that I got to call him back in the middle of reading to him? Is that a difficulty in reality? We know people who walked from Iraq to Medina. You know, subhanAllah, things are so easy for us today. Why if we're late to class, right? Things are so easy for us today. We don't do our homework. We have it so easy, and we don't take advantage of it. People walked, subhanAllah, Ibn Abbas, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, walked and traveled only for one hadith from a person, slept outside of a person's door with sand blowing on side of him for one hadith. What about us? We have it so easy. We can hear hadith at any time. We have Quran. Everything's made so simple for us. And because of it being so simple, we don't take advantage of it. We don't take advantage of it. So the question comes again. These people sacrifice their lives, their trade, everything for the sake of learning and protecting Islam. Again, most of the time when you hear about Ahl al-Sufa, you think about Abu Hurairah. We only think about Abu Hurairah as memorizing a lot of hadith, right? You don't think about Abu Hurairah as being a warrior who fought every battle since he was with the Prophet ﷺ. That's why they call them warrior scholars, right? Just because you seek knowledge doesn't mean you shouldn't be a warrior. That wasn't the way of the Sahaba. That these guys were the scholars of the Ummah, but also they were the warriors that protected the battlefield, that were always on the battlefield. Never would miss the battle. Don't even have proper food sometimes and clothing. They couldn't even get a horse sometimes, but they never missed a battle. Right? So the Prophet would say, spin on them. So I want you all, inshallah, today to think about that. What have I done for Islam? And what I was saying about easiness of da'wah, think about it, right? Some of you have Snapchat and what's this thing called? Snapchat and Facebook and whatever, right? Instead of posting pictures of yourself, right? Post a nice quote about Allah, right, to your friends. That's something to do for da'wah, right? And don't do it. Don't be a part-time daddy, right? What do you mean by part-time? Because what happens is this, well, let's say that sometimes, right, you post, let's say sometimes you post an ayat of Quran, right? Or somebody reciting, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, right? You post that. But then tomorrow you got a picture, you're like, what's happening? People are not going to take you serious. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, whatever, okay. Maybe today they had a little fling and they want to recite an ayat of Quran. Make that who you are, right? Utilize, if you're going to have social media, right? Utilize it to benefit the ummah. You don't know who might be looking at your thing, right? Say, wow, mashallah, that's deep. Wow, I really appreciate that. Don't waste your time with it where, you post it, dumb stuff. Post something that might have meaning to change someone's life. That could be something that you say, well, listen, every day I make sure I post a positive thing of Islam, something one of the scholars says, something someone could benefit from. I do that every day. That's my contribution to Islam. It might be small, but it might be big. You never know if someone's guided by that. Might change someone's heart, one thing you posted, right? But don't become ignored by people saying, part-time, per diem da'i, right? Today, you have a nice reminder. Tomorrow, you got a picture of the party from last night. I'm like, yo, what's up with you? They're not going to take you serious. Be who you really are. Be who you want to be considered as. Utilize your time like that. Don't let your Facebook be the place that people just go to when they find a joke. They want a joke. Oh, that's crazy. Nah, that shouldn't be the way. Be someone that people that they can see some benefit. Will people read your stuff all the time? Maybe not. You won't get a lot of likes and stuff like this, right? They say, oh yeah, this guy's always talking about Allah. But one person being guided by you is better than what? A red camel. It's better than your Ferrari and Bugatti or whatever, right? So utilize that and be serious. And it doesn't matter if you know a lot. You don't have to know a lot and have a lot of knowledge. If it affected you, right? You read something and it affected you, share it. The Prophet says, convey for me even if it's one ayah. But don't be lazy. Don't allow time to go by where you don't do nothing for Islam. Where you don't do anything to help guide Islam. Right? Post something nice about the Prophet ﷺ. Right? The Prophet ﷺ used to do this. Because it's upon us to defend our Messenger ﷺ. Post something nice about us. Do whatever. But whatever you do, be someone who is willing to help and contribute to Islam. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Just don't, please. And I'm telling you, I'm urging you, I'm asking you, I'm calling you to not be the type of people who... Do not be the type of people who just waste your time and no benefit comes from you. Because that's all going to be regret on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Don't let your Facebook, Instagram just be a photo book of yourself. All right? Oh, they say, wow, who cares if somebody likes your picture that you photoshopped 15 times? It's not even you. Right? So who really cares? You know what I mean? I got 15, 20 likes on my Photoshop picture. No, they like the app Photoshop. They don't like you, right? So, get it out of your mind that, oh, I'm so cute after I Photoshopped my picture 20 times. Well, wake up. Utilize that time. Seriously, utilize that opportunity. Utilize that opportunity for someone to like something that you say about Allah and His Messenger, ayah, some tafseer that you learned, right? One thing that we used to do is that if we learned something, right, we would share it. But you don't have to share it word for word, but share it how you remembered it. The explanation of it. Oh, today, subhanAllah, I learned such and such and such and such. Right? Spread your knowledge. And that's also one of the ways to remember your knowledge. That if you learn something, share it with somebody because it'll make you remember it more. Mudhakara. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Share your knowledge so that you can remember it more. SubhanAllah, today in class, I learned the tafsir of this and this ayah. Also, a little selfishness from me. I would like you to share because then, I'll get some reward for teaching it to you, right? But it's reality. You don't got to say, I taught it, but, just pass it on. Not I taught it to you, but Allah knows who taught it to you, right? And then we get some selfishness out of the deal, too, and we get some extra rewards. Don't be stingy with the knowledge, and then, the reward stops with you. Share it so that, someone else can get some benefit and some reward. Right? Just say, subhanAllah, I learned today that, the Sahaba were like this. Whatever you learned and that you took away from something, share with people and be a reason for benefit to spread through the ummah. Again, my question to you is, ask yourself, what did you do for Islam this last year? And we're not talking about that you made salat, you fasted Ramadan. That's for you. Right? What did you do to support the deen of Allah this year? Right? If you don't know nothing, you don't have an answer for it, then start today figuring out how you can help Islam. Right? And that's something that we can, it's a brainstormable idea. If you don't know any ways you can help, we can talk about it. Get some ideas from your friends. What can we do to help Islam, friend? Right? Talk about it. Inshallah. Tayyib? So, يحسبهم, we're talking still about the fuqara. للفقراء الذين أحسنوا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء. A person, when it says يحسبهم الجاهل, ignorant person or a person who did not seek information about them. If a person doesn't know them, right, these Ahl al-Suffa, remember, these are the warriors of the Ummah. That if a person didn't know them or ask about them or question about them, they would think that they didn't need anything. They would think, oh, they're good. Why? The ta'affuf meaning that they had iffa. What does iffa mean? Anybody know? What is iffa? What is iffa? It's an important word. Huh? Is it a bad thing? Is it a bad word? If you have iffa, if I say, man, you got too much iffa, is that a bad thing? Huh? Dosana? So what does that mean? What does it mean? I'm still asking. What does it mean? You look like you want to. Oh, you don't know what it means? What does it mean in Somali? He said what it means in Somali. What does it mean in English? I think he said dosana or something like that, right? What's the word again? Dosana? No, don't answer it. I'm asking them, what does it mean? You know what it means? You guys don't know what it means? You don't know that word? They don't know that word. They got to help them with their Somali, brother. That's too big of a word for them. Tayyib, la bas. Iffa, well, all right, tell me what do you think Iffa means then?
How is it spelled?
Iffa? It's spelled with an ayn, but you would say like I-F-F-A.
Like if you need something, but then you don't want to ask, for some, like if you need money so bad, because of if you don't want to ask him, you don't want to
Huh? Pride? No, it's not pride at all. Iffa and pride is different. Pride is blameworthy. Iffa is praiseworthy. Uthman ibn what? Affan. Affan is the one who had a lot of iffa. And this is his father. But Uthman was known to be one of iffa, a very shy man, right? Iffa is that it has different meanings. It comes in different ways. One type of iffa, which is most commonly understood, is that a person, iffa, it stops you from doing what is not proper to do. That's what it means. That iffa, so one way that people utilize it today is that a person doesn't become fahish, right? That they don't commit zina, they don't have boyfriend, girlfriends, right? A person who has iffa is not going to be going on a date, right? They're not going to be, going to... A strong conscience. It comes from a strong conscience, but it has a point to it because it's an action. A conscience is mostly inside. This has an outward action attached to it. So the person who has iffa is not going to be at the wedding dancing. Ooh, right? You can't have iffa and be at the wedding dancing. It doesn't work that way. Iffa is like propriety. It stops you from doing what is not proper. It's not proper to go around begging, so you don't do it. Iffa stops you from being foolish, right? It's not iffa to be, dancing on the roof, screaming, ah! Right? No, a person with iffa is not going to do that, right? I would dare to say, and Allah knows best, a person with iffa is not going to be talking in my class. Seriously, right? You're going to do is not proper. But an iffa, and here is talking about that a person has self-respect, right? They have respect for themselves, not pride. But they respect themselves enough, and they have honor with themselves enough, right? To say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lower myself to beg from you. Do you understand? I'm not going to lower myself to be seen doing that. I'm not going to let you take from my self-respect. Does that make sense? So a person who has iffa has a lot of self-respect for themselves. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you don't have self-respect. Do we understand what that means? And that's what Allah is teaching us here. That these people were poor in the masjid, but they had self-respect. Where they weren't going to go begging anyone, right? As Allah said, "La yas'aluna nasa ilhafa." They wouldn't go around asking people ilhafa. What does ilhafa mean? It means they wouldn't stick to you like this. Yo, man, come on, man, you going to give it to me or not? And then waiting with you. Didn't you say you was going to give me $10? Oh, you didn't give it to me yet? Okay, you going to the bank right now? Okay, I'll wait with you. When you going to go to the bank? Today, right? Okay, I'll stay here. I'm going to stay in the church. That's ilhafa. That I'm going to keep bothering you and bothering you and bothering you and bothering you until you give it to me. And I'm going to stick there with you. I'm going to wait. Oh, you said you're going to borrow from him. Muhammad just came in. Why you going to borrow it from him? That's ilhafa. Keep asking, insisting that I need it. No, a person who has iffa is not going to do that. If he does need a need from people, does it take away from you if you really need some help and you ask? No, if you need it, right? But don't be insistent. Like, yeah, didn't you tell me? And you grabbing the person, No, ask with dignity, right? You need it. No problem. Everyone needs help sometimes. But be dignified in your request. Show iffah in your request that, subhanAllah, I need some help. I had this situation. Is there a way you can help me? May Allah bless you. I'll try to get it back to you. That's it. But you don't have to be so demanding upon what you need. So Allah is talking about that this is how they were. They wouldn't ask people. And if they did ask someone for help, like how Abu Hurairah would do it, right? Do we know how Abu Hurairah would ask for help if he was so hungry? He said, sometimes I would just come around the Prophet ﷺ hoping. He wouldn't say nothing. He'd just sit there starving. I hope somebody gives some sadaqah to the Prophet ﷺ. Oh man, I'm hungry. But he wouldn't say anything. He had respect for himself. He didn't want to be a beggar. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, Inna Allah yuhibbul afif al-muta'affif. Allah loves the one who is afif, or who is trying to be afif. The one who either has iffah, or the one who's trying to gain that characteristic in himself. So we said that before, right? That just because you might not have the best characteristics today, doesn't mean that you don't keep trying. As they say in English, fake it till you make it, right? You might not be a scholar, but act like one, right? Act dignified, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum. Why is a good characteristic to have, right? You might not be, truthful today, but work on trying to be truthful. You might not be trustworthy. You know that you're not trustworthy. You know that you're going to backstab somebody, right? But act like it to become like it, right? Work on it. Don't say, well, subhanAllah, it's so hard for me to tell the truth. I just love lying. No, subhanAllah, don't leave yourself like that, right? Work on telling the truth. You're a person that, like, subhanAllah, some of our young people, with meaning the young ladies mostly, they might alhamdulillah, they're working hard, may Allah bless them. Maybe they like the makeup. They like, going to the parties and stuff like that. And that's them. They love, in themselves, they still like it, right? They say, ooh, man, I really would like to go do baramba at a party real soon, right? Man, it's eating me alive that I haven't done baramba in like a month. I haven't done baramba in 2 years. Oh, I wish Sheikh Khadar had died so we can go back to doing baramba at the party. Man, when is this guy gonna die, right? Maybe that's in you. Well, no, this is reality. Sometimes you might like doing the thing that you know is not good for you. So you might not be all the way there, right? But work to get there. Don't give up. Don't say, but I don't care. I love doing, but I'm not. No, work to hate it, right? Work to not want to do it anymore. You might love backbiting, right? Some people, they love gossip. They just wait and say, man, ain't nobody call me all day with the new gossip? Something gotta be wrong. My phone on? They call someone. Can you hear me? Ain't nobody call me all day with the new gossip. Some people are like that, right? They gotta hear the gossip. They gotta be the know-it-all person in the city. They gotta know everything that's happening. Then you learn some hadith that shows you that's haram. You still love it. You still like it, but you work towards not doing it anymore. Does that make sense? Until you become the one who doesn't do it anymore, right? And you love not doing it. But the way to become the one who doesn't do it, it takes steps. It doesn't happen overnight normally, right? So we understand that I love wearing makeup. Man, I can't do it. It's haram. Okay, I'll wear it in the house. Every day since I get home, I'm going to put it on. I don't care if I'm going anywhere or not. I'm just going to put makeup on. Okay, that's your thing, mashallah. But you're working on it. Then you get to the step where you say, I don't like it anymore. I don't even wear it at home. I just don't like it. Whatever your thing is, right? I like listening to music. Wa'iyadhu billah. It doesn't happen overnight that you just stop listening to music normally. It takes steps. You start by not listening a little bit. You say, okay, I'm not going to listen. And then, alhamdulillah, you stop completely. So I'm not listening. Wow, mashallah, I don't even like music anymore. Does that make sense? Or wearing tight pants. Boys. Right? I stopped buying the tight pants, right? And then I stopped wearing them. Then the ones that I have at home, I throw them away. And then I'm tight pants free. That make sense? So Ibn Mas'ud, he was saying that. He says that Allah hates the one who is fahish al-badi. Allah hates the one who is evil, but this fahish al-badi is different than just any type of evil. It means this person is like the person who is what's this word? Lewd, or they're promiscuous, right? Flirtate. They're always flirtation and promiscuous, they talk bad language, right? Or the one who asked, mulhad, the one who asked, الَّذِي إِذَا أُعْتِيَ كَثِيرًا أَفْرَض. If he asks something and he's giving it to him, he praises the person. Oh, mashallah, such and such gave me so much money. He's the best person in the world. But if a person says, man, I don't have no money, and he starts, oh, man, I hate that person, man. He don't never have. No, that's not how we should be. If you ask somebody they don't have it, mashallah, it's no problem. Now you hate the person because he didn't have money to give you. It shouldn't be like that. So Allah Ta'ala, He says that about them, that la yas'aluna nasa ilhafa. Then Allah, He ends this section by reciting, by the last ayat in this section, Allah says, وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. And whatever you spend of good, then Allah is of it all-knowing. الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ سِرٌّ وَعَلَانِيَةً فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Allah says those who spend their wealth at nighttime, right? In the daytime, publicly and quietly. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. For them is a reward with their Lord. وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. And they should never have no fear, and they should never have any grief. And again, they should never have any fear that their reward is not going to come from Allah, and they should never grieve about what they spent. Some of the scholars say this ayah was revealed in regards to Ali ibn Abi Talib. They said that Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu, he had 4 dirhams. One of them he spent at nighttime, one of them he spent during the daytime. One of them he spent publicly, and one of them he spent secretly. And Allah knows best. Because another narration comes that it was about Abu Bakr, that he had 4,000 dirhams. And he spent 1,000 at nighttime, 1,000 during the daytime, 1,000 publicly, and 1,000 quietly. So we learn something from here that it doesn't matter in regards to why it was revealed. What's important is what was said. That if you spend it at nighttime, it's good. You spend it at daytime, it's good. You spend it quietly, it's good. You spend it publicly, it's good. And your ajr will be with Allah. Some of the scholars, they mentioned that. Why did Allah mention the nighttime before the daytime? Is because spending at nighttime quietly, secretly, is better than spending in daytime publicly. And Allah Ta'ala a'lam. Any questions in regards? You just have to say. Stop it. Stop. Any questions? No questions? Tayyip, I have a question.
How do I stop it?
I don't know. It should say done or finished. Right?
Oh.